Hi, Michael here. As a software engineer and now a team leader, I often have to self-study technical things. This includes programming languages, frameworks, JavaScript frameworks, or even how to administer infrastructure on the cloud. In this video, I will talk about why I think it's really key that we know how to self-study technical things, what the challenges are, and towards the end of this video, my tips on how to overcome them.
Firstly, why do we need to engage in self-study? So the main times in my career when I've engaged in self-study is for a project in my current role, or maybe I want to sort of go into another technology but stay in my current role, or I'm in between jobs and I need to get another role and my skills have to be up to date to get that role. Now, when I first started working, companies used to send people on training courses. It was quite a nice experience, usually off-site, and gave you a few days out of the office. You got to meet some new people. And in some jobs and careers, probably that still happens. But in the technology space, now I'm finding that doesn't happen, and we have to rely more on self-study. Now, if you're lucky, you will work for a company that gives you time to do this. Technology is a fast-moving space, and one of the most important things as an employer is to keep your people up to date with their skills. So you should really give them time to do this. However, some employers don't, and you may want to learn a skill which perhaps isn't in line with the needs of the employer. So you may have to do it in your own time. And in this video, I want to give you a good idea of the best use of your time when learning a new skill. Self-study is not easy. Anybody who tells you it is basically lying. So one of the most important things you need to get right is why you are studying, or why are you self-studying. The general reason I believe that you should self-study is that in this time of uncertainty, and particularly in technology careers, your pay and job security is linked to what you know, what skills you can have and demonstrate. Perhaps in other careers it's slightly less so, it's more about who you know, and knowing people in IT is important as well, but if you don't have the skill, then you're probably not going to get the job, even if you know a lot of people. The main challenges I have found when attempting to learn a new technical thing is firstly where to start. And once you have started, losing momentum. You have a good few days, you're studying, and then you just stop, and then you never start again. And finally, by the time even if you do study successfully, by the time you need to do something with that knowledge, you've forgotten it. So how do you deal with not knowing where to start? Typically, when I'm learning something, I look for the most basic example online and try and recreate it and follow along. With a programming language, you might find this by going to the official documentation site. Do a Hello World program example there. The important thing is to get going. So find the easiest thing you can do and try and write a program or watch the most basic video on it. One of the problems you can face when learning a new technical thing is that there are so many resources online, it's hard to know where to start. There are Pluralsight courses, Udemy courses, free websites, YouTube. That's why I would recommend going firstly to the official documentation site, for example reactjs.org for React, or python.org for Python, or the Azure site, azure.com Microsoft site for Azure Cloud Computing, and just taking a look at the documentation there. Look for the simplest example. From then on, you might want to choose to do a course or look at some videos, that's fine, but just start with the basics, the official doc. The next challenge I have faced when learning technical things is losing momentum. The number of courses I have started and not finished is pretty high. A technique I now use to avoid this situation is chunking or breaking things down into small goals.
At the start, I would say don't be too ambitious. Just focus on doing the smallest thing. I find the moment I pick an ambitious goal, like learn Python in a week, that is the moment I think, oh, I'll just do something else trivial first. I'll do that later. Aim low is what I recommend for the start. Final challenge I found is when you need to use something, you have forgotten it. So the way to avoid this is to be focused in your learning. You cannot know and retain every technical thing. So once I have a basic knowledge about a topic, I move on unless a more in-depth knowledge is needed at that time. Unless it's something I use every day, stop and move on to learning something else, which you may use more frequently. So we've looked at the challenges and some solutions to those, but let me summarize how I approach self-study of technical things. Firstly, I would focus on getting a basic knowledge of the topic. Be really focused. You're not trying to learn everything, just what you need. Secondly, and very importantly, I would make a start. Break down the learning task into micro goals, small chunks, aim low. Thirdly, when I'm learning something technical, it's really important not to be passive. Don't just watch somebody typing something on a screen. I would type it out myself. I'd type the code out myself. Don't just copy and paste. Maybe choose to do a project or multiple projects on the topic. Fourthly, I would use something that's already there. If there's an existing code base, that's my first place when I'm looking how to solve a problem. Maybe this problem has been solved before in the code base. If you're studying yourself, not in a work setting, maybe look at a project on GitHub. How have they solved the problem you're having right now? Finally, when I'm self-studying something, I use multiple sources. Books, online courses, GitHub, Stack Overflow. Everybody has a different take on a subject, and by studying these different takes, you can get a good overall understanding of the subject. Well, I hope you found those tips on self-study useful. If you are interested in becoming a software engineer, please check out my earlier videos and also subscribe. See you on the next video.